Hey, what's up, friends? We all doing okay? All right, good. Okay is good. Today's an interesting day here at Babel on Talmud. We are learning Daf Mem of Masechta Berachos. A few interesting things over here. Can you talk after you say the bracha of Hamotzi on bread? That's an interesting one. What about, then we move on to a few health tips from the resident Gemara doctors about what you should eat that are good for you. We'll then move on to the bracha of Borei Priya Eitz, Borei Priya Adama, Shakol Ni'evdvaro. Okay, bracha on mushrooms. What bracha do you make on mushrooms and why? So we do have some interesting things over here, friends. So without further ado. Okay. Starting mamish at the top of Daf Mem Amud Aleph. Here we go. Amar Rav Tol Bruch, Eino Tzarich Levarich. Oh, so interestingly enough, Rashi and also Tosfos seem to be learning this as referring to after you make the bracha on bread, right? So mamish, you say bracha to Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz, and then you say, okay, everyone take. You haven't even eaten bread yet, and you're just like, all right, here you go, and you start giving out pieces, and you're like, all right, everybody take. That seems to be okay. You wouldn't have to make a new bracha. That's not considered a hefsek. Because as Rashi says, that's in the first thin line of Rashi. It says this talking is actually a part of the need for the bracha. You know, it's on subject, telling everyone to just take some bread. So it's not considered a hefsek, not considered an interruption. Totally interesting that between when you make the bracha and when you give out the bread, you can actually talk as long as it's related to the bread. Now, like everyone always says, like, pass the salt, right? It's like kind of cute also, right? Because you're allowed to do it. It's really fun. But usually we assume that's like before you make the bracha. Kilo after you wash and everyone's kind of sitting there quietly, so you can be like, oh, could somebody bring the salt, right? But this is saying, Rashi seems to be understanding this, and Tosfos as well, is that actually even after you make the bracha, before you actually eat the bread, you can say these things. Now, le'alacha, I don't know that we do this, but it's interesting to note that Rashi and Tosfos seem to be assuming that it's after you made the bracha, before you eat. Okay? However, you would not be able to say, hey, somebody passed the salt, can somebody bring the relish, which I guess is like a hummus kind of thing, right? So according to Rab, after you make the bracha, you could say, okay, everyone, take some bread, even before you've eaten, but you wouldn't be able to say pass the salt or pass the relish, okay? Rabbi Yochanan Amar afilu haviu melach haviu liftan nami eno tzarich levarich. And Rabbi Yochanan says, no, you can even say, pass the salt, pass the relish, that kind of a thing. That would not be considered an interruption either. Gvil l'torei tzarich levarich. However, Rabbi Yochanan says that if you make the bracha on bread and then you say, hey, somebody go organize the food for the ox, that would be a problem, and you would have to repeat the bracha. Rav Sheshes Amar afilu gvil l'torei nami eno tzarich levarich. Whereas Rav Sheshes says that no, even to instruct somebody to go knead the ox food for the ox, that would be acceptable. It wouldn't be considered a hefsek. A hefsek, you would not have to repeat the bracha. The Amar of Yehuda Amar Rav also la'adam sheyochal kodem shitei ma'achol levhemto. It's forbidden for somebody to eat before he first organizes food for his animal. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, it's in the second chapter, the second paragraph of Shema, v'nasati esev b'sadcha levimtecha, that you'll give grass in the field for your animal. V'hadar v'achalta v'savata, and only after that the pasuk says v'achalta v'savata, you will eat and you will be satisfied. Very good. Very good. So we see that first you should organize the food for your animal before organizing food for yourself. So that's why Rav Shesha says you can even say, go organize some food for the ox after you make the bracha on bread and before you actually eat the bread. Very, very interesting stuff. Okay, moving on. How come we put salt on our bread, right? On Shabbos, right? We always make sure to have salt. How come? What's the deal with salt? So Amar Rav bar Shmuel mishum Rabbi Chia. So says Rav bar Shmuel in the name of Rabbi Chia, Eina botzei Rashi livtza ad sheyaviu melach o liftan lefnei kol echad ve'echad. So Rav bar Shmuel says in the name of Rabbi Chia that whoever is sort of, breaking the bread, whoever is making the bracha and, dishing out the bread, he waits, right, until everybody has, salt or some kind of relish or hummus or salatim or dips in front of them. And what it means in front of each and every person, I'm assuming what it means, or I'm envisioning that back then they used to, lean on couches, and I think everybody had their own table, and that's how they would eat. Everyone had their own couch and their own table. Sounds very cool. So anyways, basically, they would bring in front of everybody their own kilu salatim course. So Rava Bar Shmuel is saying in the name of Reb Chia that, if somebody's making a bracha on the bread for everybody, he should wait until everybody has either salt or some kind of a relish or dip in front of them for the bread. Okay, fine. How come? Let's see. Rava Bar Shmuel ikla levei Reish Galusa. So now one time, this same Rava Bar Shmuel visited the Reish Galusa. Now, honestly, I'm not exactly sure what the Reish Galusa is, but I think it was like some kind of political position. It was a Jew who was in some kind of political position in, Babylon, and he would be like a liaison, to the ruler. But anyways, it was some kind of powerful person, some kind of political position. And anyways, so this Rava Bar Shmuel was visiting the Reish Galusa one time, and afikule rifta, so they brought him some bread, uvatzalehedya, and he immediately, ate it. Meaning he made the bracha, he washed, whatever, but he didn't wait for them to bring salt or hummus. So amule, hadamar mishmaite, so they said to him, wait, wasn't your opinion that you don't make a bracha on the bread until you have salt or some kind of hummus or something? So Amrulu leizdein tzarich b'shash. He says, yeah, but that's not really relevant here because this bread is so good, it doesn't need the salt or the hummus, okay? So it sounds like basically the whole point of bringing salt or some kind of a dip or something like that would be in order so that the bread should taste really good, that you're not just making a bracha on plain bread. They should have something on it. It's more of like a sandwich or a dip or something like that, right? But he was saying that this bread is so high quality that it doesn't need any help. It doesn't need salt or a dip or something like that. So, that's interesting. And especially like nowadays, I guess if you're getting like a nice, beautiful loaf of bread from some nice bakery, you don't, strictly speaking, necessarily need to have salt. Tosfos says something interesting, which is that, even if you don't need the salt for the bread, they said, however, once everybody washes and you're just kind of sitting at the table, you're doing nothing and waiting for everybody else to wash, so then the Satan comes and he's starts to say, look at these slackers, they're just sitting around doing nothing. So then the salt that's sitting there on the table will protect them because it will remember God of the covenant that he made with the salt, that it will, go on the korbanot, with the korbanot on the mizbeach, and that protects the yidden in that circumstance, which is very interesting. So once already we mentioned Rava Bar Shmuel, in the name of Reb Chia, so we say some other interesting stuff, which I would think would have belonged at the end of the third parak when we were talking about all the other bathroom kind of stuff, but I guess we didn't mention Rava Bar Shmuel over there, so we're doing it here. Rava Bar Shmuel mishum Reb Chia, ein meraglaim kalim ela b'yeshiva. Oh, very nice. So when you urinate, so in order to get all of that urine out, the best way to do it would be if you're standing. No, if you're sitting. If you're sitting, then you can really get all the urine out. But if you're standing, you're not going to get it all out. And Rashi says, because if you're standing, you're concerned that maybe, towards the end of your peeing, it's gonna somehow it'll bounce off of the ground and get on you. So therefore, you're gonna cut it short. But Rav Kahana says, but if it's soft ground, where I guess you're not concerned about it deflecting off the ground and getting on your leg or something, so then it's okay. Then I guess even standing, you'll be able to get all of that urine out. Or another solution would be, even if there's no soft dirt, to stand on a mountain and then pee off the mountain, because it won't drip on you because it's going down a mountain. Sweet. V'amar Rava Bar Shmuel mishmed Reb Chia, instead of Rava Bar Shmuel, the name of Reb Chia, acha kol achilascha echo melach, v'acha kol shesiyascha shesei mayim, v'yata nizok. Very good. Some sort of nutritional health information, which is that after you eat salt. After you drink water. And then you won't get damaged. Sweet. All right. I don't know if it means take a spoonful of salt, or maybe it means eat maybe some kind of a savory kind of dessert, maybe Berachos or something. I don't know. But anyways, that's the pro tip. Tananami, we also learn a brayse like this. Okay, we also have a brayse that says the same exact thing, right? After you eat salt. And after you drink water. V'ata nizok, and you won't get damaged. Tani idach, we have a different price that says the opposite. Well, it says the same thing, but from the opposite perspective. Achal kol maichel v'lo achal melach, shasa kol mashkin v'lo shasa mayim. What if he ate and then didn't follow it with a salty thing? What if he drank and then didn't drink water? Bayom yidag mipnei reach hapeh. If it's during the day, he might get bad breath. Oy. Uvalayla yidag mipnei askra. And at night it gets far worse. You have to be concerned about askra. Now, if you remember from Ches Amud Aleph, askra, it says there are 903 ways that a person can die. The worst one was askra. So that's pretty bad. So I guess you should always drink water after you drink other things. I guess drink water and eat salt. That seems to be the recommendation. Sweet. Taner Rabbanan. Hamak be'achilaso b'mayim einu bali dei choli me'ayin. So anybody who basically drowns his food in water, he won't get any stomach diseases. So I guess if while you're drinking, you drink lots of water, so that seems to be a recommended way to go. V'chama, how much water should you drink? Amar v'chista keton lepas. So I guess for every loaf of bread, you should have 1 keton of water. Now, I think a keton is just like a pitcher. I don't know how big the pitcher is, but I guess you just drink lots of water. I don't know. Amar of Mari, Amar of Yochanan, Arago ba'adashim achas l'shloshim yom monea askar mitoch beso. Oh, very nice. So it says of Mari in the name of Yochanan, if you have lentils every 30 days, so about roughly once a month, you don't have to worry about this terrible disease of askara. But don't have lentils every day, my time because you'll get bad breath. Okay. And Ramari says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that if you have mustard every 30 days, so you won't get sick. Nice. But don't have mustard every day. My time, how come? It's bad for your heart. Too much mustard, not good for the heart. Okay, very good. Oh, if you eat herring, if you eat up a small fish, herring, sardines, so then you won't come to get stomach sicknesses. Okay. Not only that, wow. But small fish, they do wonders for the body. It makes it fruitful and grow and healthy. All great stuff for the body. So it's good to eat fish. Okay, very good. Very good. Amar b'chama b'Rab Chanina, harago b'ketzach enubali de cave lev. Says Rab Chama b'Rab Chanina that somebody who eats cumin seeds, he won't get heart disease. Okay, very good. Meisiv, one second, we have a Bryce that says Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer ketzach echad mishishim samani amavesu v'ayoshin lemizrach gorno dama Berachos. One second, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said that cumin seeds are actually one of 60 poisons. Okay, v'ayoshin lemizrach gorno, and somebody who sleeps to the east of its storage facility, and the wind is going to blow at night, and he's going to breathe it in. Dama Berachos, his blood is on his own head. Kilu, he's going to die. Okay, so on the one hand we said that cumin seeds is good for your heart, but on the other hand we said it's also bad for your life. So what's the deal? Lokasha haberecho habetaimo. It depends. If you smell it, that's no good, right? Which is why if you sleep, to the east of its storage facility, and you breathe it in when you're sleeping, bad news. However, to eat it is good for the heart. Now, the Rabbi Yirmiyah's mom, she would bake him bread with these cumin seeds, but then before serving it to him, she would remove all the cumin seeds. So that way she was able to infuse the taste in the bread, so it would be good for his heart. Yet she removed the the threat to his life. Very nice. Rabbi Yehuda says that on vegetables you don't say Be'Pri Adama, you say Boi Mine D'Shaim. Okay. So it says Chinina, but the Gaon changes it to Rab Chanina. So we're going to do that also. Some Rab Zera V'Tem Rab Chanina Bar Papa. Zot Rab Zera, some say it was Tak Rab Chanina Bar Papa. Ein halacha Rabbi Yehuda. The halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. We don't say borei minei d'shayim on vegetables. We say borei pri adama. How come Rabbi Yehuda says to say borei minei d'shayim and not to say borei pri adama? Amarka baruch Hashem yom yom. Oh, Pasuk Tehillim says that we praise God every single day. 1 second, we only praise Him during the day, we don't praise Him at night? Ella, no, what it's teaching you of Baruch Hashem Yom Yom is that every single day you should give the appropriate blessings for that day. So on Shabbos, you have like a Shabbos, you have Shabbos blessings and Shabbos Shmon Esrei and stuff. Yom Tov, you have Yom Tov blessings. So also, Hachanami here too, Kol min v'min tein lo mein berachos. Every single, species, give it its proper blessing. So don't just say borei pri adama for everything that comes from the ground. Rather, on vegetables you say borei minei d'shayim. On things like wheat you'll say borei minei zrayim, as we saw the other day. Okay, very nice. Come and see that the way of God is not like the way of man. The way that things work in the physical world is that if you have a vessel that is filled up, right? Let's say you have a pitcher that's filled with water. You can't put any more water in there. It's already filled. It's not like that with the Torah. It's not like that with spirituality. Or really, I'd imagine with any intellectual pursuit. But let's see. If you're whole, right, meaning if you already started learning, so then you'll continue learning. But if you never start learning, if you're empty from learning, so it's much harder to start. Shneamar, as the Pasuk says, Vayom Shamoa Tishma. If you, right, surely hear. But we learn Im Shamoa, like if you already hear, so then Tishma you will continue to hear. V'im Lav Lo Tishma, right? But if you have not heard anything, i.e. you're empty, so then you won't, even get filled up. You won't listen. Okay? Davrachim Shamoa B'Yashin Tishma B'Chadash. Oh, if you listen to the old stuff, i.e. you review what you've learned, right? Rashi says, Sheshanisa v'shilashta ma sheshamata ishtaka, that you go over and you review what you learned last year 2 times, 3 times, so then tishma b'chadash, so then you'll be able to hear new things. I imagine it means that you'll learn new things and remember those things because you review everything. But if you just kind of learn it once and then never get back to it, you're not going to be able to hear it in the future. Right? You're never going to get back to it. You're never going to remember it. So that's sort of a plug for reviewing what you learn. Cool. Berach haperasa ilan, borei pri adama, yatsa. Oh. So if you said the bracha borei pri adama on an apple, right? Now, of course, the bracha on an apple is borei pri eitz, but you said borei pri adama. Yatsa. Itaka works. Vaperasa aretz borei pri eitz lo yatsa. But if you take epis a cucumber and you say borei pri eitz on it, that doesn't work. Yeah, you have to say borei pri adama. Okay. But on either one, if on the apple or on the cucumber, you said shakoni b'dvaro, it works. All right, cool. Mantana dikar ilan arahi. So from the fact that we're saying that you could say theoretically borei pri adama on an apple, so that means that basically the main part of the tree is really the ground, right? So meaning normally you should say, right, God who created the fruit of the tree. But theoretically, if you said God who created the fruit of the ground on an apple, even though it really comes from a tree, it works. So in order for that to work, that would mean that by saying that this apple is a fruit of the ground is accurate. So in order for that to be true, that would mean that really the main thing of the tree is really the ground. So by saying the fruit of the ground, it's technically true for the apple as well. So who says that? So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rabbi Yehuda, it's Taka Rabbi Yehuda, Ditnan, or as we learn in a Mishnah. So this Mishnah is in the context of Bikurim, okay? What are Bikurim? Bikurim are the first fruits, okay? Bikurim are the first fruits, right? And it applies to the 7 species of Israel. So let's just take dates, for example. If you have a date grove, so you would take the dates, you would take the first ones and bring them to Jerusalem, and you would say this whole kind of thing about, how God took us out of Egypt, and now I'm in Israel and I'm bringing my first fruits. And part of what we say over there is min ha'adama, right? Or technically, really, it's actually not min ha'adama. It's really vevesias reishis priya adama, right? That I'm giving you the first fruits of my ground. So now that's what bikurim is, okay? Now here's the thing over here. There's something you have to understand for a second. There is something called a beit hashlachin. Okay, this comes up at the beginning of Moed Katan. Basically, what a beit hashlachin or sedei beis hashlachin, whatever it is, it's basically a field that doesn't get enough rainwater, so you have to help it out. you have to add some kind of irrigation system where like a stream kind of goes through the field, and through that stream it irrigates the field. Okay? So what happens? We have a Mishnah that says Yavish Amayan. So what happens if you had some stream going through your field, irrigating your field, and that is how, let's say, your date tree managed to thrive through this irrigation system, and now you bring your fruits to Jerusalem. But the thing is, this stream actually dried out. So now actually the source for your trees, or the source of the irrigation for your field is basically ruined. So on the one hand, you're coming to Jerusalem and saying that I'm bringing my fruit that comes from my field, but the field is sort of defined by its ability to grow fruit, and it's no longer able to grow fruit, right? So can you still say that you're bringing these fruits from like my field, but my field is kind of like broken at this point, right? Or what if like the tree that it came from was like cut down? So again, you're bringing these fruits, but sort of, how are you coming to God and saying, wow, God, look, I have this great field and I'm bringing you my fruits, but the field is now basically defunct, right? So maybe ve'eno kore. So according to the Tanakama, you would still bring the fruits to Jerusalem, but you wouldn't say the statement of like, wow, God, thank you so much for giving me this amazing food and this amazing field and ground and land, and look what it's producing, right? You wouldn't say that, because at this point, you're basically, your ground is unable to produce that fruit, so you still bring it, but you don't say that statement. Rabbi Yehuda maybe v'kore. Rabbi Yehuda says that no, you would bring your first fruit and you would still read that statement. Why would you read that statement? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, the main thing is really the ground. The fact that the tree fell down, the tree is really just getting sustained from the ground, or even when I guess you have this irrigation system that is broken right now. So it doesn't matter, because it's not about the irrigation system; it's about the land. It's about the ground. So here also, when you're making a bracha on you're saying boy priya eitz, really the main thing there, sure, we're more specific that it came from the tree, not from the ground, but the ground is really the main thing, and therefore it would be Rabbi Yehuda who says that you could say boy priya adama on an apple. Theoretically, you should really say boy priya eitz, but if you say boy priya adama on an apple, it'll work. All right, exciting stuff. Amar, okay, so al peres haaretz v'chule. So now the Mishnah had said that if on a vegetable, if it's on a cucumber, you said boy priya eitz, it wouldn't work. So the Gemara says pshita, obviously you can't say boy priya eitz on a cucumber. It's not a tree. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak lo nitzcha ela Rabbi Yehuda. So it says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak that the reason why the Mishnah had to say that you can't say boy priya eitz on something that's boy priya adama, it's for the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. What's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? The Amar chita min ilanhu he, that Rabbi Yehuda actually said that wheat is a kind of tree. So I would have thought that maybe I could say boy priya eitz on wheat. We know, of course, as from the Gemara that said a koses esachita says boy priya adama. So we know that wheat, of course, is boy priya adama. But Rabbi Yehuda refers to wheat as a tree. So maybe if I would say boy priya eitz on wheat, it would work. Where does Rabbi Yehuda refer to wheat as a tree? So in a very interesting brisa, what was the fruit that Adam HaRishon ate, right? That Adam and Chava ate in Gan Eden. So the Tanya, Ilan she'achal mimenu Adam HaRishon, the tree that Adam HaRishon ate from, Rabbi Meir Omer Gefen Haya. Rabbi Meir said that the fruit from the Eitz Hadas of the tree of knowledge was a grapevine. The tree of knowledge was a grapevine. How do we know that it was a grapevine? Because you don't have somebody that brings like woefulness, like bad stuff on a person, except for wine. As amazing as wine is, the fact that we make all sorts of Berachos mitzvah, it also is the source for negative things. Right? Noach drank from wine and he got wasted, got super drunk, and kind of embarrassed himself in front of his kids. And all sorts of other stuff that the Gemara says in Sanhedrin. So here also, Adam HaRishon ate from the Eitz Hadas, and the next thing you know, there's death was introduced into the world. So therefore, says Rabbi Meir, it must be that the fruit of the Eitz Hadas was actually a grape. Interesting. Rabbi Nechemia Omer te'ena haisa. Rabbi Nechemia says the tree of knowledge was a fig tree. Shabadavar sheniskalklu boni taknu. That in the same thing that they messed up with, i.e. the same tree whose fruit they ate, they then used the leaves of the same tree to make clothing to cover themselves because they realized that they were naked. Right? It says in the pasuk that then all of a sudden, once they ate from the tree of knowledge, they were aware of the fact for the first time that they were naked. So they made clothing out of fig leaves. So Rabbi Nechemia says, look, the fact that they made clothing out of fig leaves indicates that the fruit that they ate was taka, a fig. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Chita Isa. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, it was actually wheat. The Eitz Hadas was wheat. Shenatinok Yodea Likro Abba V'Ima Achitum Tam Dagon. Because we're calling it the tree of knowledge. What is the food that represents knowledge? Wheat represents knowledge, because a child, at the time that he is able, or the time that the child is able to, say Abba and Ima, that is around the time that the child begins eating wheat. Okay, so wheat is associated with knowledge, and that's why Rabbi Yehuda argues that the tree of knowledge was actually wheat. So if he's saying that the tree of knowledge was wheat, then that means that wheat is a type of tree. So I might have the Havamina to say that I could say Boi Priya Eitz on wheat. So Sakadati Chamina, I would have thought to say, or it enters your mind to say, Hol v'amar Rabbi Yehuda chita min ilan he. So since Rabbi Yehuda says that wheat is a type of tree, well, livri chale Boi Priya Eitz. Well, then I should be able to say the bracha of Boi Priya Eitz if it's a tree. Kamash malan. Rather, the Mishnah is teaching us that heicha, this is super cool, this is super important. Heicha mevarchinam Boi Priya Eitz. Where do we apply the bracha of Boi Priya Eitz? Heicha dechishaka le lepere. That when you pick the fruit, when you harvest the fruit, ise legavza v'hadar mapik. The branch remains intact and will continue to produce fruit. However, if it's a tree where you remove the fruit and the branch is either gone or will no longer continue to produce fruit, you don't say Boi Priya Eitz, rather you say Boi Priya Adama, and therefore wheat, when you harvest it, it's gone. It won't grow more wheat. You have to plant new wheat. And therefore, you can't say Boi Priya Eitz on it. You can only say Boi Priya Adama on it. Super duper interesting. So that's essentially how we define Boi Priya Eitz versus Boi Priya Adama, right? Boi Priya Eitz is something that the tree remains intact and keeps on growing fruit year after year. I guess like an apple tree or something like that. Or probably an orange tree, all that kind of stuff. But anything that, you have to basically replant every year, so then or just whatever, the branch that you picked won't continue to produce fruit, then it won't be Boi Priya Eitz, it'll be Boi Priya Adama. Super duper interesting. Okay, cool. So now if he said Shakoni Evet Varo on Boi Priya Adama stuff or Boi Priya Eitz stuff, so it works. Now Itmar, it was stated. We have now machlokes between Rav Huna and Rabbi Yochanan about, can you say shahakol on bread and wine, right? So we said it works for Boi Priya Adama and Boi Priya Eitz. What about for bread? What about for wine? Right there, Berachos are Motzi Lechem and Aretz and Boi Priya Gafen. So Idmar, Rav Huna Amar, Chutz min hapas min hayayin. So Rav Huna says, no, you can't say shakoni ebedvaro on bread and wine. Rav Yochanan Amar, afilu pas v'yayin. Rav Yochanan says, no, you could say shakoni ebedvaro on anything, including bread and wine. Let's say that the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yochanan is like a similar machlok, is like a machlokes between Tanoim, because after all, Rav Huna and Rabbi Yochanan were Amoraim. So let's say that their dispute basically aligns with the dispute of Tanoim. What's this brisa of these Tanoim? It says Ro'a pas v'Amar Kamanoe pazo baruch hamokom shebara'a. So a guy sees a loaf of bread, he says, wow, that is such beautiful bread. Blessed is God who created that piece of bread, that loaf of bread or whatever. Yotza. So it works. It works. All good. And if he sees a fig, he says, wow, that's mamash, a beautiful fig. Blessed is God who created that beautiful fig. Yotza. It works. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That is Rabbi Meir's opinion. Cool. Rabbi Yossi Omer. Rabbi Yossi says, no way. Anybody who changes from the template that the Chachamim made for brachas is not Yotze. You can't just go to a fig and say, wow, that's a beautiful fig. Blessed is God who created that fig. It doesn't work like that. You say Boi Priya Eitz on a fig. Okay? So the Gemara wants to say, Neimer Rav Huna Damar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yochanan Damar Rabbi Meir. So let's say that Rav Huna, who says that you can say Shakoni Abedvaro, who says you cannot say Shakoni Abedvaro on bread or on wine, holds like Rabbi Yossi, who says that you can't just change the template from the Chachamim, and Rabbi Yochanan, who says that you can say Hamotzi Lechem, who can say Shakol Nia Bidvaro on bread and on wine. So he'll be like Rabbi Meir, who says you can just say, wow, that's a beautiful piece of bread. Blessed is God who made that bread. Okay? Amr lach Rav Huna ana da'amri afilu Rabbi Meir. Oh, so now the Gemara is going to say how both Rav Huna and Rabbi Yochanan, they're both going to say how, no, both Rabbi Meir, both of the Tanaim, both Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi would agree with their position. So now Rav Huna starts first. So Rav Huna would say to you, ana da'amri afilu Rabbi Meir. I say, even according to Rabbi Meir, right? Rav Huna, who says that Shakon Yevdvro does not work on bread and on wine, says Rabbi Meir, who says that you could just say, wow, what a beautiful piece of bread, blessed is God who created it, would agree with me that Shakon Yevdvro would not work on bread and wine. Ad kan lo ka'amar Rabbi Meir hasam ela hecha de kamad kashmei de pas, aval hecha de kamad kashmei de pas afilu Rabbi Meir modeh. Rav Huna says that, Reb Meir would say that, yeah, as long as the guy mentioned bread, it works. Kilo, as long as the guy said, wow, that's a beautiful loaf of bread, blessed is God who created it, yeah, sure, that's fine. But he would agree that in this case, where God just said, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shakon yemidvaro on bread, what does shakon yemidvaro have anything to do with bread? He didn't mention bread. So Rav Huna argues that Rabbi Meir would agree with him that you can't say shakon yemidvaro on bread. Okay. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yochanan Amalach, and Rabbi Yochanan is going to try to show how both Tanaim would agree with him. Anadam Yafilu Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yochanan, who says that you can say Shakoni Abedvaro on bread, says that even Rabbi Yossi, who says that you can't change the template of the Chachamim, would agree that you can, however, say Shakol on bread. Why? Alkan lo kam Rabbi Yossi asam ela mishum dekam bracha delo takinu rabbanon. Aval omer Shakoni Abedvaro de takinu rabbanon afilu Rabbi Yossi modeh. So Rabbi Yochanan says that the only reason why Rabbi Yossi says that saying, wow, that's a beautiful piece of bread, blessed is God who created it, he says it doesn't work because that's not a bracha. Brachas are sha'akol, bar priya eitz, bar priya gafen, etc. Not, wow, that's beautiful, blessed is God who created it. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan wants to argue that Rabbi Yossi would agree with him that you could say sha'akoni ebedvaro on bread. Sha'akoni ebedvaro is a perfectly good bracha. Okay, so that's the machlokes between Rav Huna and Rabbi Yochanan, right? Can you say Shakoni Abedvaro on bread? We tried to say it lines up with the machlokas Tanaim, but we said that no, both Rav Huna and Rabbi Yochanan can make compelling arguments to say that both of the Tanaim would agree with their opinions. So what do we say Lamaisa? I'm not exactly sure. I think that you can make a bracha Shakoni Abedvaro on anything, I think. Okay, fine. Exciting stuff. Weiter. Binyamin, okay, so now we're talking about where you kind of like improvise a shtickle on bracha acharona, on benching. Okay, so we were just talking about, can you say shakoni ebedvaro on bracha rishona? Can you say, wow, that's a beautiful bread, blessed is God who created it? That was talking about, bracha before eating bread. What about a bracha after eating bread? Can you improvise dartin? So Binyamin Raya Karach Rifta. So I think what his name is, Binyamin the shepherd. I think Raya is a shepherd. I think it means Binyamin the shepherd was eating bread. And then afterwards, Ve'amar, Brichmari Dai Pita. Boom, done with benching. Maybe if he had a cup of wine, maybe even said, Boy Priagafen afterwards, bracha, right, bench ala kos. Zo, that was benching. So Binyamin Rai Kach Rifta, Ve'amar, Brichmari Dai Pita. He said, blessed is the master of this bread. Straight and to the point. Amar Rav, Yotza. And Rav said, Binyamin, the shepherd, was just Yotze benching. But I thought Rav's opinion was that in order for something to be considered a bracha, you have to mention God's name. He didn't mention God's name. He just said, blessed is the master of this bread. So the Gemara says, yeah, Da'amar Brich Rachmana, Maridai Pita. So the Gemara says, oh, yeah, sorry. He actually said, blessed is God, the master of this bread. So he did say God's name, and that's why Rav said that it works. But I thought that for benching, there are 3 brachas in benching, and he's only saying 1 bracha. Now, You might be thinking, I thought there are 4 brachas in benching. So as we're going to learn, I assume in the next parak, the 4th bracha of benching is actually midirabanan. It's not midaraisa. So there are 3 brachas of benching. The first 3 brachas are midaraisa. The last one is midirabanan. So doesn't he have to say 3 brachas? Over here, even if you want to say that brich rachmana maridai pita works, but that's still only 1 bracha. So ma yatsa the kamar Rav Nami yatsa yedei bracha rishona. So no. Also, when Rav says that he's taka yotze with saying brich rachmana maridai pita, it means he's yotze the first bracha of benching, but he still has to say the other 2 brachas. I wonder how he's going to say them. Wonder what fancy way he's going to one-line them. But anyways, he's yotze the first bracha. Okay, very cool. Mak mashmalan. So the Gemara says, okay, very nice, but what exactly is Rav teaching us? Afagav damar b'lashon chol. What, that even though he benched kilu in Aramaic, it works? But Tanina, we already have a Mishnah that tells us that you could bench in any language that you want. These can be said in any language that you want. Parsha Sota, right? We've talked about Sota a few times, right? So when this woman, the suspected woman comes to the Beis Hamikdash, so they have a whole curse, right? They say Yitin Hashem osach la'ala v'l'shvua, I think v'l'shvua or the klala or something. The klala l'shvua, something like that. The ala l'shvua, I think. B'soch hamech, right? B'sitech Hashem is yorechech nofel v'bitnech tzava, something like that. Anyways, so that thing could be said in any language. Okay, fine. Vidui meiser, as we talked about. Oh no, we didn't talk about. But anyways, is it the same thing as the bikurim? But anyways, you would go to Vidor Meisers when you would take your Meiser to Jerusalem, your Meiser Sheni, then you would say this whole thing, Biarti HaKodesh Min HaBayis, right? Arami Ovid Avi, that whole thing. So, no, unless Arami Ovid Avi is Davka by Bikurim, and then Biarti HaKodesh Min HaBayis is Davka by Meiser Sheni. Sorry for confusing these things. Honestly, I'd have to look them up to figure out which one's which. But in any event, Vidor Meiser is when you take your Meiser Sheni to Jerusalem, and then you give it to the Kohen. Maybe this is Meiser Ani. Honestly, I'd have to look this up. Honestly, I have to look this up, actually. You say you give it to the Gaman, Satichel, Kohen, the Levi. I have to look this up, because the Meiser goes to the Kohen. But anyways, when you bring your Meiser, you do something called Vidui Meiser. And Vidui Meiser is basically you say that I got rid of all my Meiser from the house, and I've given it to everybody who I'm supposed to give it to. So that can be said in any language as well. Ukriyashma. You could say Kriyashma, as we learned earlier, right? That you could say Kriyashma in any language, right? B'cholashon shata shomea, in any language that you hear. Utfila, you could pray in any language. Ubirkas hamazon, and you can do birkas hamazon in any language. So what's the chiddush of Rav? Okay, great. Going back to our story. Great. Rav said that Binyamin the shepherd can say Brich Rachmana Maridai Pita. So is he just saying that you could bench in any language? Like, we know that, Kilu, from that Mishnah. So, it's true. We needed Rav to teach us this. Because it would enter your mind to say, Hanimile de Amar B'lashon Chol ki hechi de takinu Rabbanan B'lashon Kodesh. Avalo Amar B'lashon Chol ki hechi de takinu Rabbanan B'lashon Kodesh emalo. Kamash Malan. Because I may have had the thought to say that, sure, that Mishnah says that you can bench in any language, but I might think that you still have to say word for word translation from the Hebrew to whatever language you're saying. But just to say Brich Rachmana Maridai Pita, 5 words instead of like 100 words for that bracha, that wouldn't work. So the chiddush is that not only can he say it in Aramaic, he could even just say it in his own way, which is interesting. So, okay. Gufa, we said earlier. Amar Rav, kol bracha she'im ba'azkaras Hashem ein a bracha. So Rav said that in order for a bracha to be a bracha, you have to mention God's name. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, kol bracha she'im ba'malchus ein a bracha. Whereas Rabbi Yochanan says that in order for a bracha to be considered a bracha, you have to say Elokeinu melech haolam. If you just say Baruch Atah Hashem, whatever the bracha is, that doesn't work. You have to say Elokeinu melech haolam. Amar Abai kavase the Rav Mistavra. And Abai says it actually makes more sense to me, like Rav's opinion, that you just have to say God's name, but you don't have to say Elokeinu melech haolam. The Tanyas, we learn in a brisa, lo avarti mitzvosecha v'lo shachachti. So this is, I thought that this is by Truma and Meiser, right? By the Vidor Meiser that we just talked about a minute ago, right? He goes to Jerusalem and he says this whole thing. And he says, I didn't transgress any of your mitzvahs and I didn't forget anything. So he learns, there's a brisa, it says, I didn't violate from blessing you, which is super interesting that we're saying I didn't violate from blessing you, because we also said earlier that the bracha isn't ma'akev. You could do these mitzvahs without making a bracha. If you put on tzitzis and you don't make a bracha, put on tefillin, if you separate truma and meiser and you don't make a bracha, you're still yotze. And yet it's giving so much significance to the bracha that it says, I didn't transgress by not making the bracha. And maybe it's similar to like what we said the other day, that somebody who gets hana without making a bracha, it's kilu like he's stealing from God, and Rashi said it's kilu he's stealing his bracha. So kilu, there is a lot of, even though you don't need the bracha in order to be yotze the mitzvah, there's a lot of significance and importance to giving the bracha for God. And the Brisa says, and I didn't forget to mention your name upon it. I.e., what's important is that when you make the bracha, you say God's name. You don't necessarily have to say Elokeinu melech haolam. Vilu malchus lo katani, doesn't say malchus. Rabbi Yochanan, tani v'lo shachachti milazkir shimcha umalchus chalav. So easy fix. Rabbi Yochanan just says, no, the second part of that price says that not only have I forgotten to make a bracha, but I also mentioned your name and malchus and Elokeinu melech haolam. Okay, what about the fact that the Brisa seems to not mention malchus and he's just adding it? I don't know, unless maybe saying that there's different versions of the Brisa. I don't know. Okay, sweet. New Mishnah. Something that doesn't grow from the ground. So you say on that, okay. Ala chometz, on vinegar. Vala novlos, we're going to explain in the Gemara what novlos are. Vala govayin, on grasshoppers. Omer shakon yabedvaro, you talk to say shakon yabedvaro. Interesting. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, koshu min klala ein mevarchin alav. Rabbi Yehuda says, yeah, but something that's a curse, like grasshoppers, I guess like locust or whatever, something like that, or chometz, vinegar, like if your wine turns to vinegar, if it's a curse, then you're not gonna make a bracha on it at all. If he had all sorts of different types of foods in front of him. Now, I assume what this means is that they're all the same bracha. You had a whole bunch of maybe you have apples, oranges, and dates. So Yehuda Omer, em yesh benein min shiva olav hu mevarich. So if one of them is a shiva saminim, so in our example, apples, oranges, and dates, so dates are one of the 7 species, so you would make a bracha on the dates. The Chacham says, look, you can make a bracha on whichever one you want. You want to make a bracha on the apple, make a bracha on the apple. Okay? Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, on something that doesn't grow from the ground, kigon, beside behemos, chayos, v'ofos, v'dagim, right? Like the flesh of animals like domesticated animals, like cows, chayos, wild animals like deer, that they live out in the wild, v'ofos, birds, v'dagim, fish, omer shakon yebedvaro. Okay? Al cholav, v'ala beitzim, v'ala gvina, on milk, on eggs, and on cheese, omer shakol. Okay? Al apas she'ifsha, which is interesting, on moldy bread, v'ala yain shehikrim, or on wine that's like congealed, v'ala tavshil shavet surasa, or some kind of cooked dish that doesn't look like the cooked dish it's supposed to look like. Omer shakol, and these things say shakol, which is super interesting. I don't know, I guess that there's still some edible value to them. Okay? I guess you still get some kind of benefit. Ala melach v'ala zamis, on salt and on, these brines that we mentioned the other day. Val kmeinu fitrios, on truffles and on mushrooms. Omer shakol niyeh b'dvaro. Omer shakol. Okay? So now we're going to talk about mushrooms for a second. How come on mushrooms we say shakol? Lememer de kmein ufitrios lav gidule karkaninu? Are you telling me that truffles and mushrooms don't grow from the ground? So now the Gemara is going to make a distinction now between growing from the ground and actually getting the nourishment from the ground. So, the way like Rashi is explaining it is basically, fungi basically grow in moist areas, right? So the moisture that comes from the ground, causes these fungi to grow, but the actual nutritional value is coming from the thing that they're growing upon. So if they're growing on a tree, their nutritional value is coming from the tree, but their growth is sort of spurred by the moisture coming from the ground. So, Ve'al Tanya, we learn in a brisa, Hanoder miperos haaretz. So somebody says, I'm not getting any fruits of the ground. Also miperos haaretz, umutar b'chmeinu fitrios. So he's not allowed to have fruit, but he's allowed to have mushrooms and truffles because they're not considered fruit of the ground. Okay? But if he says anything that grows from the ground, I'm not going to get any benefit from. So then he can't even have truffles and mushrooms because their growth is from the ground, from the moisture that comes from the ground. Amar Abaye, so Abaye answers, Mirba rabu me'ara meinak lo yanki me'ara. So Abai highlights this distinction that while they sort of grow from the ground, from the moisture in the ground, that's what spurs their growth, but their nutrition, right, their nutrients don't come from the ground, they come from whatever tree they're growing on. Okay, but the Gemara asks, yeah, but we said that when you say shakoni abedvaro, you say shakoni abedvaro on things that don't have their growth from the ground. But here, their growth is coming from the ground, i.e., from the moisture of the ground. That's what spurs their growth, right? And therefore, that should be boi pri adama. So the Gemara answers, katane. No, so teach al davar she'en yonek min haaretz. No, say that something doesn't sort of get its nourishment, its sustenance from the ground. That's what you say, shakoni abedvaro. And here, mushrooms don't get their sustenance from the ground, therefore you're not going to say boi pri adama on them, you say shakol bidvaro. Okay? Very cool. Ve'ala novlos. And on novlos you say shakol bidvaro. The question is, what are novlos? So my novlos, what are novlos? Reb Zera, Reb Illa. Oh. So we have Reb Zera and Reb Illa chiming in over here. Chadamar boshle kamer, v'chadamar tamer dezika. One of them says it's these dates that have been scorched and made totally dried out and no good from the sun. So on those who say shakoni abedvaro. And the other opinion is that they're dates that have just been blown off their tree. So I guess they're just perfectly edible, they've just been knocked off the tree. So Tana, Rabbi Yehuda Omer says Rabbi Yehuda, Koshu min klala en gvar chnalav. Now Rabbi Yehuda said, right after the statement that said that on vinegar and on novlos and on grasshoppers you say shakoni abedvaro. So Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you don't say shakoni abedvaro because all these things are curses. And on curses you don't say shakoni abedvaro. You don't make a bracha. So I understand, if we understand these novlos to be dates that have been completely scorched and like made inedible, or just at least not particularly good, so that I understand why it's referred to as a curse. But if you say that these novlos are just perfectly good dates that have been knocked off the tree, what am I missing here? What's the curse? Right? So the Gemara answers Asha'ara. No, when Rabbi Yehuda says that whatever is a curse you don't make a blessing on, it's referring to the vinegar and the grasshoppers, assuming that they're going to come and destroy your crops, but not necessarily on these dates that fell off the tree. Okay. Ikidamar, there are those who explain this sort of dialogue over here. As Bishlam Lamand Amar Bosh Le Kamra, I understand if you say that it's dates that have been scorched by the sun. That's why the bracha is no longer boi pri eitz, it's shakoni abedvaro, because they're like not really like the fruit anymore, right? They're not really dates anymore. They're like some dried weird thing. Right? But if you say that it's just perfectly good dates that got knocked off the tree, why would you be saying shakoni abedvaro on them? You should say boi pri eitz on them. Okay, so the Gemara says, you're right. In the Mishnah, when it says novlos, it's talking about dates that have been scorched by the sun. That's where they're shakoni abedvaro. El benovlos stama kule amalo plige dibashule kamra ninhu. So with novlos, stam novlos, like in our Mishnah, yeah, you're right. They are dates that have been scorched by the sun. But ki plige, where is this machlokas about, are novlos things that have been scorched by the sun, or are they dates that have been knocked off the tree? Benovlos tomorrow. It's when it says novlos tomorrow, that's where they argue. Ditnan. We learn in a Mishnah. So now, this Mishnah is in Masechta Demai. What is Demai? Demai is fruit that it's any, product that's chayav in Meiser that you buy from an Amma Aretz. An Amma Aretz is somebody who isn't trustworthy, that they took their 10% tithe and gave it to the Levi. Okay? So, because we can't trust that he did Meiser, we can't eat it before we take our own Meiser. Okay? So now we're saying akal and shebedmai, but there are certain things that you don't really have to be concerned about buying them from an Amma Aretz. You can assume that the Amma Aretz took Meiser from it because they're like pretty cheap. Like, it's not, a big financial burden for him to take Meiser from it. Hashisin, okay, we're going to explain all these things in a minute. Hashisin v'arimin v'uzradin v'nos shuach v'nos shikma v'gofnin v'nitzba v'novlos tomorrow. Okay, what are all these things? Shisin, Amar Rabbi Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, min te'enim. Okay, so shisin are a kind of fig. Rimin are kande, which apparently is a lot. If anybody knows what a lot is, I would love to know. Ha'uzradin tolshe, uzradin are crab apples. Bnos shuach, Amar Rabbi Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, te'ene chivarta. So bnos shuach apparently are white figs. Okay. Bnos shikma, Amar Rabbi Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, dovle. Bnos shikma are fruit of the sycamore tree. Okay. Gofne is shile gofne. So gofne is a reference to grapes that remain on the vines at the end of the season. All right. Nitzpa is parcha. Right. Nitzpa is the fruit of the caper bush, as we learned a few days ago. Novlos tamara, and what is these novlos tamara that like a guy doesn't really, he'll take meiser on it, no problem, he doesn't really care. Rab Ilav Rab Zera chad amar bosh lekama v'chad amar tamer dezika. So one of them says it's these sun-scorched dates, and the other one says it's these dates that were blown off the tree. So now the Gemara says, Bishlam l'manda amar kamra bosh lekama. I understand according to Manda Amar says that it's sun-scorched dates. Hanu de katani akal and shibid mai sveik anu de potter. So I understand why we refer, if you say that it's sun-scorched dates, well, I get it. It's talking about dates that were scorched by the sun. The guy then harvested them, and now we're not sure if he took off meiser or not. And as long as we're not sure, we can assume that he did, but if we would know 100% that he didn't take meiser, so we'd have to take meiser from it. Okay. But one second, if we're talking about dates that have just randomly been blown off the tree. We're not talking about dates that were harvested by somebody, in which case they would be chayiv and meiser. We're talking about dates that were blown off a tree, and so therefore they're hefker, right? They're ownerless. Anybody could take them. You just found them on the floor. So in that case, you wouldn't have to take meiser. You don't have to. If I just go and like take a fruit from like hefker and just eat it, I can do that. I don't have to take truma and meiser from it. So therefore, this also, right? It blew off the tree. Why would I have to take meiser on it? We're talking about demai. We don't know if we took meiser or not. Well, if it's dates that were blown off the tree, then there's no reason to take meiser from it. So I don't get it then. So the Gemara answers actually, hachab ma'askin shasan goren. No. So here what it's talking about is that you took these dates that were blown off the tree, but then you made them into a pile, and because you made them into a pile, you actually do have to take meiser from them, and we're saying that. But because they were dates that were blown off the tree, the guy. You can assume that if you got it from the Amaretz, he already took meiser. That leket shichach and peah that you made into a pile, you have to take meiser from them. What's leket shichach and peah? Basically, when you're harvesting, I wonder if they came up before. I don't remember. But basically, when you're harvesting a field, there are three things that you leave for poor people. One of them is stuff that fell. If you're like harvesting and some stuff fell on the floor, so you leave that for poor people, right? Shichacha is what, if you forgot to, harvest certain things, and you leave that stuff that you forgot for the poor people. And peah is you leave a corner of your field for poor people. And it becomes hefker, right? Anybody could take it. And they don't have to take truma and meiser. But if they make it into a pile, then they do have to take truma and meiser. So therefore here also, even these, you could say that these, novlos tamare are these dates that were blown off the tree, and he's chayiv to take meiser because he made them into a pile. Okay. Those who say, I understand if you say that these demai thing is talking about dates that were blown off the tree. Novlo stama vasim karila tomorrow. Aval madamar boshle kamra nesne idi v'idi novlos tomorrow or idi v'idi novlos stama kasha. Right? The Gemara says, I understand if you say that by demai, it's talking about dates that were blown off the tree. Well, that is why, meaning we said that novlos in our Mishnah is referring to, right, when we say shakoni avdro, is boshle kamara, the sun-scorched ones. Okay, so we refer to those just as novlos. And then in demai, when we say novlos tomorrow, it's something else. It's these dates that were blown off the tree. But if you say that both of them are referring to sun-scorched dates, well then why in our Mishnah do we just call them novlos, whereas in demai we call them novlos tomorrow? Wouldn't that imply that they're two separate things? So the Gemara says kasha, yeah, it's taka good kasha. Okay, Seder. Very good. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed. I think there was some interesting stuff over here. Improvising brachas. Can you talk after you say amotzi? Right, of course, I don't know if I pointed out before, we're talking about all these foods that are good for you, but of course, you can just eat borscht, as we learned yesterday, because borscht is good for your eyes, good for your heart, good for your digestion. Just eat borscht. But anyways, what else we talk about? The bracha on mushrooms, all sorts of interesting stuff. What's considered a borei priya eitz versus borei priya adama? That's a cool one. Anyways, great. I hope everyone enjoyed. And as usual, peace out.